I'm not calling out anybody, but there's a certain internet company that begins with a C that I'm not going to say their name, but they are not my friend tonight. Sorry, I am late. Sorry, we are late. I'm sitting here with David Whitley. We won't have an open. We'll just jump right into the action. We've got Kyle Curtis is going to join us on the back end here. We're going to discuss all sorts of things. We've got, first of all, let everyone know, please subscribe to this show. There's a little YouTube bug in the bottom right-hand corner. Make sure you subscribe. It makes a difference. And we can continue to bring this content for free. And in pole position, Toby Perimeter, welcome to the show. It's going to be a good show tonight. We've got lots of things to discuss, and I've got my favorite guy in the whole world, other than, of course, Buddy Martin. I guess I have to give him that nod. But David Whitley is in the house tonight on our Tuesday night. Mr. Whitley, how are you, sir?
It's an honor to be here, and I don't think I'm worthy of being your second favorite guy on earth.
You going for number one?
No. I can never displace number one. I my wife tells me that too, but she has to tell me that because we're married. So
was it in your vows?
Yeah, yes, I'll always be number one, she said.
You're number one in my heart and in my mind. How are you tonight, sir? Thanks for joining the program.
Oh yeah, I don't have cocker cable, so my life is fine.
Oh well, I didn't say it. He said it. I didn't say.
I'm sorry.
It.
I have something. I won't tell you the name, but I will say it starts with an A and ends with a T. I'm not raving about it, but it does seem to perform better than that other unmentionable.
Well, I did tell you before the show started, I have a 50-foot Ethernet cable running out the back of my window to my neighbor's house where I am plugged into their box as they're out of town. So thank you. He doesn't like to be named. My neighbor across the fence. We appreciate you and your dedication to the Buddy Martin Show. So welcome to the Buddy Martin Show. Lots of things that I put in our title. I've got a pretty funny thumbnail in there with a Wild Wild West background, and we've got our new QB1 depicted, in a nice throwing motion. He's got his fingers up like that. He's, and Max Brown taking on the Florida State Seminoles this weekend in the Swamp. It's going to be an exciting game. I know you'll be there, and I will be there amongst Kyle Curtis, and the rest of the Gator Bait Media gang will be there. It's going to be a fun game to watch. We're also very excited about we just said his name. Elko from Duke talking about 13 days to the wild, wild west of the transfer portal. Says, get ready for free agency in college football.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that will be sort of an interesting way of looking at it, and much of in the line of what we've been discussing around here, which will be more of a professional NFL vibe, where teams, I think, will be more built in the portal. And what is it going to be like? Now recruiting is more like drafting. So we're going to do like, and speaking of drafts, or speaking of high school recruits, we've got DJ Lagway upgraded to 5-star quarterback by On3's recent rankings, which is sort of a pretty exciting deal. So first and foremost, what are your thoughts about Mr. Max Brown, his performance on last Saturday? And, what do we think? You were at the press conference on Monday. You were number 2 question, I think, which was odd for you.
No. I was, I usually let the front row, the Helen Thomases of the AP go. If you recall, she was the longtime White House, in the red dress for like 90 years. So Edward Thompson, who wears a red dress sometimes, we let him go and do his things. And then I picked my spot, got around to it. I think I asked about recruiting and whether this is impacting, all the stuff you hear about. They lost three guys, but what is normal attrition versus what is, oh my God, we're losing because losing guys and whether it's he's pretty good about that. He says, part of their sales pitch is that you can come here and be part of something that's building. And, it's funny. So much of the recruiting, he says, is the guys they have already signed working to keep the other guys in line and recruiting and building that relationship among the class, to where sort of like they feel like, I'm committing with these guys. I'm hanging, and you don't want to back out.
Right.
But
you might get a call from Mr. Lagway and his 5 stars.
I bear no. If I were a hardcore, I would bear no grudge against someone who flips, or a school that gets them, because the Gators are trying to do exactly the same thing to guys who committed elsewhere. And when you're dealing with a 17-year-old, when I was 17, I would go to 3 different fast food joints trying to figure out which one I'm going to go to for dinner. And
I'll have a taco, and I'm going to have a burger, and I'm going to have fries from over here.
Yes, so it's not that unusual to have, if at this point, 3 out of whatever 23 flip, but they flip 3 others, percentage wise, I'd say that's pretty normal. Now, so I don't know if the struggles are, we've had this debate. I've been reading about this 30 years ago, like how many recruits in Florida decide where they're going to go based, if it's down to Florida State, decide based on that game. And there's no definitive answer. I mean, some, I'm sure some have, but not always in the way that you think. Some might think, like we said, well, God, FSU just got boat raced here. They need I can come right in here and be a defensive tackle, or they got to wait 6. So I don't think it's cause for, you can draw any firm conclusion one way or the other.
Well, I agree. And there's the reverse of that argument, which is, gosh, you don't, and probably this is more of a parental perspective, but it's like, gosh, I hope you don't go in and play too early, and there's really no one there to sort of develop you, a la, and I'm not calling out Graham Mertz, but, he went to a place where maybe he wasn't ready to be playing so quickly.
I don't know if he was ready, and I don't think they were ready for him either, based on what they had him doing.
Right.
Even in year 3, obviously he had found a better system here for his talents, and I hate talking in the past tense like this, but that's the way it is. His barring a surprising announcement after the season that he's sticking around next year, his career at UF is over, like a comet through the sky. Yeah. And I think most Gator fans can give him a hearty pat on the back and thank you for a job pretty well done.
Yeah, I think so too. Just not you've heard anything, but you're thinking he puts his chances with this season and getting drafted into the old National Football League, or
yeah, and again, this is just a hunch, because I don't know if he has made the decision himself, but I mean, the guy, this will be his, next year will be his 6th year. And I think he came here to restore his reputation, or actually, to build a reputation, forget restoring one.
Yeah.
And I think he did that. I don't know that he's going to be able to improve that next year based on anything. And I presume he'll have his degree. I mean, certainly, if it's entering his 6th year of college, I would hope he would have just, racked up enough hours to get a degree.
I would think so.
Of course, a lot of guys they start working on, a master's at this point, just to, keep the eligibility going. But I just don't think that he, at this point, I don't know why he would come back and do this again. I mean, college is great, but at some point you want to get on with your life. And since he did pretty much check all the boxes he needed to check here, I think that it would serve him better just to check out the NFL. And, I mean, he was never going to be a 1st-round pick, but I think he had worked himself up into a later round pick, or certainly, a guy who will get a look and get a chance. And, when you look at some of the, flotsam and jetsam that's playing QB right now in the NFL, I mean, guys get hurt, and you're not putting in guys that I never heard. And like the guy who's starting for the Jets, he's replacing, well, first there's Rodgers, and then there, and now they Zach Will, and I guess this guy was like a buddy of Rodgers, he had 1 touchdown and 13 interceptions in college, but he's just So if you're just smart and just a good locker room guy, you can be And for years, remember Don Strock on the sidelines for 63 years, and next to Shula. Yeah, you can still be that guy, and you
smoking a cigarette
retire with $30 million in the bank.
Yeah. Well, how do you think he sets up for the NFL? I mean, size-wise, he's there. Arm strength is,
I mean, arm strength
and release is not so fast.
Arm strength, iffy. I mean, it's no sure thing. But again, you look at some of the guys there, and you think, well, he can maybe just catch on and be a third, a third team guy, which won't even get you dressed out, but still just hang out. Maybe guys get hurt all the time, and and at this point, what else are you going to do? Or
stay and make
any other leagues now,
right? Or stay and make almost $1 million. I think his NIL deal is about $900K.
That is interesting how I could factor into that, because I don't think he's probably making pushing that old 6-figure. I'm sure he's well into the the 6-figure, maybe not 7, but
one of our reporters in the chat room, Dan Bond, by the way, just posted Mertz is making $900K, I believe. Why not come back? Probably hit 1 million in NIL next year. I mean, that's a good point, because what if he doesn't get drafted, or not drafted? What if he doesn't play? Nice to pad your pocket a little bit, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, because if it's a choice of that, or going out and becoming the I don't know what he's majoring in, but starting his business career and becoming the assistant manager at a Costco somewhere, I would say, go make that mill. And from a sort of a selfish standpoint, I hope he does, because I think it would be one of the more interesting stories next year. Storylines is a Mertz versus with the hotshot kid coming in, Lagway, and then you don't know how Max Brown is going to figure into this right now. We will know a lot more after after this Saturday, and if there's enough. Certainly, it's not much of a sample size, but what little we saw Saturday night is reason for fans to think, maybe there's something here.
Now we can play this game because it's fun to play these games, because we get to do this as people in the media. Say Max Brown comes in and plays lights out, which I'm going out on a limb here. Not many people are. I actually think Max Brown is a different kind of quarterback, a different kind of player. I think he suits, in a lot of ways, what's going on offensively for the Gators right now, because of his ability to be a dual threat. That read option was really something to watch. I know there wasn't a lot of tape on him. They weren't expecting it. I get it. I know now there is. They'll have a spy on him. It'll be a little bit of a different deal, but I think he might be dynamic enough. And I really like the way he throws. I got to watch him in fall practice. He throws a really nice ball, very catchable ball. We saw that in the game against Missouri. Look, dual athlete, baseball guy, definitely can run and throw. And like Billy said in his press conference, I of course am paraphrasing, but he basically just said that he believes in himself quite a bit, which was a nice, I think, way of putting it. He thinks he's pretty good. We've got a story coming out by Kyle Curtis here on GatorBaitMedia.com about the outpouring of support from the players and social media the last couple of days for Max Brown. A lot of guys coming out. We'll talk about it more when Kyle gets on, but it certainly has the support of his team, and sort of, lack of a better way of describing him, he feels like a gunslinger to me. Kind of a guy that got that more of that natural athletic ability. Certainly he's got speed. And I think that he could change, if he's a lot successful as he was to some degree in the Missouri game. I think in the swamp with that electric atmosphere, he could go and light it up. So again, back to our little story, what happens? Say Max Brown lights it up and they win by 2-3 touchdowns convincingly. Now this offensive line doesn't look so bad because he's making quicker decisions and he's not a pocket passer. So, again, things, the dynamic could change a lot, and by somebody like him coming in. Now, how does that factor in if you're Graham Mertz thinking, maybe I don't want to come back? And you got DJ Lagway, who, God, I don't know if anybody's watching, if you watched any of his stuff this year in high school, but he's absolutely lighting it up. So much so he's become a 5-star recruit now, according to On3 reporting later this afternoon. I don't know. I think at that point you think maybe a little too many people in that quarterback room.
Well, that would be the dream scenario for Gator fans, that if you have Max Brown, and I like, one thing I really like about Max Brown is his name, Max Brown. Just two quick syllables. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Good, easy for headlines and easy to remember.
Yeah.
And you can play off Max a lot. So
yeah, I like it.
Max
It's like Trey Smack.
Yeah, Trey Smack, Max Brown.
Max Brown. It's funny, when I first saw him for the very first time, he had the black curly hair kind of coming out the bottom of his helmet. And I was like, and he turned around, I was like, it's Bernie Kosar.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're just gonna put that, maybe hike that leg back a little bit, and get a little sidearm going. You got Bernie Kosar out there. Certainly Bernie didn't have the athleticism that Max Browning did, but
he could certainly play QB.
Yeah, but he could be doppelganger for him.
Yeah, we'll have to check the DNA, see if get a Jerry Springer test going. But
that's the next show. That's the next show. Come on,
that's right.
Yeah. You and I are gonna do a whole thing. I'm gonna be Jerry Springer. You could be the bodyguard guy.
Right. You're the one. You already have the father character in our show here, so maybe say, yeah, buddy, this is not, yeah. So, but all right, but back to Max Brown and his band of renown.
Max Brown.
Yeah, I think the most impressive thing about him the other night was that the moment wasn't too big for him, and it was a big moment when you're suddenly you're thrust into a game, and I don't think he had really taken a meaningful snap in his college career, and immediately the whole game is riding on your shoulders. You're on the road, fourth quarter against a top 10 team, and he did flub the one hand off, but everything okay. He owned it, said my bad, that's the way it happens. But the fourth down pass that he made when they had to have that, he pretty cool, laid it right in there. Next time he drove him down for a field goal, drove him down for that touchdown, and when he broke free, it was obvious that that Missouri didn't know what hey, this guy can run. They didn't know. I mean, there was no real film on him.
No,
on the guy, and there's not much now, but there's certainly enough for FSU to say, okay, we have to retool because we're not going against Graham Mertz. And I see they'll stack the box, they'll put a spy on him, they're gonna do all they can to make him beat them, through the air, because he can pass, but he can throw, but is he enough of a passer to make the reads that they will want him to have to make to go to your second guy, your third guy, and that's to be determined. I mean, because that is a skill that takes for 98% of QBs. It takes time development. It takes a lot of reps, and that he doesn't have yet. I mean, it may come, but and some guys never get it, and some do. We sort of lived with this all last year with AR. Where he's Nitro Gilstrom back there. He can make the wow play and great athlete, but you're not sure if he can just make the routine throw consistently. And I'm not saying that's going to be Max's case, but we just don't know right now. But FSU is I think going to do everything it can to make that a point of contention and make us find out can he I think they would love to have him become a pocket passer and keep him contained and say, all right, we got to find and just keep him contained, because where he will be free and easy and most dangerous is what we saw the other night, like a run pass option, or just when he breaks free and off he goes, and he can use the athleticism that he has.
Well, I really believe that we're going to see, obviously, they made adjustments when the coaching staff, Billy Napier, Rob Sale, made adjustments to the play calling that definitely fit his talent level. I mean, obviously, I think they're going to be smart and take advantage of that. No question. I don't know Max Brown. I don't know. I don't know how smart he is as far as IQ. I have no insight on that or not.
147, I hear.
Thank you very much. Yeah. What's the test that they play or that they take to go into the NFL? That test for quarterbacks.
Oh, well, it used to be the Wonderlic.
The Wonderlic, yeah.
Yeah, but they got rid of that now.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a test, but it's not the Wonderlic, and it's not like they used to give it to everybody at the combine, but now they don't.
Combine.
But certain teams have just recognition tests and stuff like that are more like football oriented on memorization and stuff like that, which I think, it's saying like, there's some famous QBs like back in Wonderlic days that were terrible. Like, I think, it was 0 to 50. And I think like Dan Marino, and if you had the 13, stuff like that, the kind of thing where you think that, if this were high school, they'd be 23-year-old seniors. And majoring in wood shop.
Yes.
But they
don't have that anymore. They've done away with shop. That's all gone now. I hear you can't take shop anymore.
Mm-hmm. I know. Well, it's too bad, because I think America suffers for the lack of woodworkers now. But again, that's neither here nor there. But but there. And then there were some guys who were super sharp that they just they couldn't. It didn't matter. They couldn't. They weren't football players. So. But I think, they investigate so much. It's just another piece of information that they get now and have. And like that, that was a knock on supposedly Stroud out of, CJ Stroud out of Ohio State, that he didn't do well on that cognitive test. And look what he's doing now,
right.
By far, he's having no trouble reading defenses, right now in the NFL. So, but back to how it relates to Max Brown, I don't know him, but he seems like a sharp enough kid from the one, interview that he did, that we have gotten him, because, it's not often, there's no reason for him to come in and they bring him in or for the media request him, because, he's the backup QB who never played until Saturday night. And, that's the way the crazy football world works. One sprained ankle, and suddenly you go from a complete nobody to the man.
Well, look, Lauren Meadow was on the other night, and he was talking about, he kind of knows his parents, because Lauren knows everybody, because he's like the mayor. And he says, well, he comes with really sharp parents who are really, athletic minded folks. Yeah. And you got to give it to the guy. I mean, he rose up through the ranks pretty quickly.
Yeah. As you well know, that, and his buddies told me that, that really intelligence skips generations. So he's really looking forward to having some smart grandchildren.
Right. And that's what happened with me. Dad's real smart. I'm real dumb. Yeah. See, that's what happened.
Yeah. But hopefully, it's not the case with the Brown family. And Max gets in there and it clicks, and all's well in Gatorland. But he rose through the rank. But the ranks had thinned out pretty much, because I was wondering earlier, like Jack Miller, was he abducted by aliens?
No, he broke a thumb, or
broke a thumb, and it just
hangnail, bad haircut, something. He always had a reason.
I don't know if he travels with the team anymore.
Yeah,
and then and beyond then
after the Vegas Bowl, I don't know if I want to travel with him either.
So I mean, Max just had to be back there, and I think be taking breaths and having a pulse to be the number 2 guy at this point. And and you're just saying, all right, well, as long as Mertz is in there, Max is, he's going to sit. We won't see him till spring practice take a meaningful, snap against a number 1 type defense. And but here he is. And again, I didn't know what to expect, but I was surprised at how well he handled it, just the pressure of the moment.
Well, and I was really surprised how he handled it post fumble.
Mm-hmm. And you do just crap your pants like that on the first, and Yeah, I mean, we've seen it before where the moment's just too big for some guys, and in a way, that's sort of what FSU is looking at, because Tate Rodemaker, which another name I love because it sounds like the a very dashing sports anchor, like Kent Brockman says. Now we're over to you, Tate Rodemaker. Yes, but yeah, Tate. Now he has it's his fourth year, so he's obviously taken a lot more snaps in practice, and he has played in a lot more games, relatively speaking. Yeah. He got a lot more real snaps than Max Brown has. But I was talking to the FSU beat writer for the Tallahassee Democrat today, and he said, he's done that. He came in last week, and they were down 13-0, but it was Alabama State, and they didn't win a 50. He played well, but he's never been in a situation like he'll be Saturday night, where they unless he had gotten in at Clemson, there's nothing that approaches the swamp that FSU plays at. And it's one thing to go in and play well, even at Louisville or somewhere like that. But it's a whole different thing when you're doing it, at Florida Field on a Saturday night, and and the biggest rivalry game of the year.
No question.
And so it's a stage he's not going to be used to either. So that and they're the same way. Everybody's lining up behind Tate and saying, this is great. We don't feel he's not our number one guy, but we have faith, and he's done enough to show us that we have. We're not going to just fall off the face of the earth because we've lost Travis Jordan. But again, you knew what you were going to get Travis Jordan, and it was going to be a nightmare unless he got hurt. It's a mystery.
Yeah, I agree. I hold those thoughts. I've got two of my other favorite folks waiting in the orange and green room. We're going to do this.
Green fan you?
Yeah. Those guys, orange and green. Yeah, I call it because everything that Dad does, I do differently. And by the way, Gator green is a color. I looked it up. All right, listen, and don't ask Lauren about the old green uniforms that we don't speak about. The ones that he loves so much, which he has all those merch. Okay, we're going to take a break real quick. Stay with us, folks. We've got Lauren Meadows. We've got Kyle Curtis. We're going to hear from our sponsor, Meldon Law, and we will be back just in about a minute and a half. Don't go away. Plus, if you have any questions in the chat room, please load them up. We're happy to take them. We have all sorts of things. And we take all comers. Anyway, we're going to discuss all of that and more when we come back right after this.
Meldon, Jeffrey, you do a show where you ask a lot of questions. I've got one for you right now, okay, regarding how do you know whether your case is being handled right and what to do about it. In medicine, you can get a second opinion if you're not satisfied with the doctor's opinion that they have. And do you have that in law? Can you do that with lawyers?
Yeah, buddy. As a matter of fact, we get quite a few calls from folks that have signed up, particularly with the big box law firms, that they do a hell of a good job of putting ads on TV. But after that, they don't really measure up to the way we try to create a client experience that's outstanding. And we're always willing to review a case and give a second opinion, just like with a doctor, because not all law firms are created equal.
I guess that's the normal thing. Just go to Meldon Law, Google it, and find out, and just give them a call. And like you say, if you come in, you get to see a Meldon. You don't get shuffled off to somebody else. You get to see a Meldon, and that's good to know, because a lot of people don't know how to do that stuff, like me. And maybe you can coach us through. So Meldon Law, they won't back down. They will take your questions about your case if you have a question.
Yes, whether it's a new case or an existing case, give us a call. We'd be glad to go over it with you. There's no charge to review your case with you. And a lot of times it makes good sense just to get a second opinion.
Good stuff from Meldon Law. They don't back down, but they will give you a second opinion.
This is theme music for Kyle Curtis and Lauren Meadows. I like to put this up for you.
Yeah, I wonder where
You like that?
was. What is
Yeah, I class this broadcast up, dog. Come on.
Yeah.
I got this song is called hip hop. That's what I got. Yeah, give me that show. Come on. Come on, give it to me. Come on. I know. I'm gonna take you dancing. We're joined by GatorBaitMedia.com, star-studded journalists, and my friends, Mr. Coach Lauren Meadows and Mr. Coco Kyle Curtis. Welcome to the Brendan Martin Show. I'm calling it my Tuesday takeover. Gentlemen, how are we this evening? We're here with Mr. Whitley, as you can see.
Hello,
How you
gentlemen.
doing, Mr. How you doing? Respect, sir. How you doing?
Good.
What's going on, guys?
Brendan, you're
Respect.
not in the attic tonight? Looks like a different background.
Me?
Kyle's he's on the beach.
Yeah, no. I'm back in Ocala for Thanksgiving. We're off school the rest of the week, so I was able to come back home.
Right.
Right.
Well,
Lauren has the shower curtain from the Psycho.
There you
I got my back to the pool. My godson is playing video games in my office.
I gotcha. All right. Careful, you see a knife come through there. Tony Curtis in his dress.
We'll see someone in the background. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
that would be good. It's going to be your wife, Marsha. She's going to pop back out there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we've got we've got a lot of things on deck. We've been discussing Mr. Max Brown. Title for the show tonight is Max Brown's Slingshot versus the Seminoles and the Wild Wild West of the transfer portal, which we have opening up in 13 days. And the quote that just Kyle and I were discussing with the Duke head coach
Mike Elko.
Mike Elko, dyslexic, talking about how we're going to have free agency. Basically, it's going to be a whole new game for college football. Lauren, start with you. Any comments about that?
Yeah, I think he's right. We've talked about it at length, the way that things are going with very little regulation with the NIL and how things are handled. That's pretty much what you're going to have. Now, obviously, it's not going to always be the highest bidder gets the player. I mean, some people don't want to go play in freezing cold weather, and some people don't want to go away from home. I mean, there's always variables and things like that. But with NIL and the transfer portal, the ability to overhaul your team will always be there, and there's going to be always somebody looking to advance their situation both individually and as well as get into a place where they can win. So I think a lot of eyes will be on obviously places like Florida, Colorado could be a player. What will happen at Texas A&M? Will there be a mass exodus there of different sorts? And then you have the usual players where, whoever basically, the four top teams that make the playoff will obviously be top destinations for a lot of people. So I think I ran into Kevin Sumlin last year around this time in Daytona, and I asked him about it. And he said, it's funny, man, that's the new normal now, and you got to adapt. So basically, as you adapt, and I think that's one part of Billy Napier's organization that I think is in the right place. I think they've done a really good job. I mean, the people they brought in for the most part have hit. So, they just got to kind of get a few more in some key positions. So it's those, like you said, in 13 days, things are going to get real interesting. And it's only going to steamroll. It's only going to get worse the more money. Because when they go to 12 teams, I mean, the money that's going to be flowing through college football is going to be just unfathomable. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I don't think they're going to care about the cold weather, to be honest with you. I mean, gosh,
some people, they say that, but until you spend, the one thing about the Big Ten is it's nice the first 5 games, and in them last 5, it's different, man. I mean, and I think that's why Graham Mertz has done so well is it's a lot easier to throw the football in the South than it is those last 5 games in the Big Ten. So
look, I grew up in Colorado catching footballs. Let me tell you what hurts more than anything else: catching a football right on the tip of your thumb when it's cold out, son.
Yeah,
Kyle Curtis wouldn't know anything about that. He's a
he
Florida boy.
Yeah, I'm a Florida guy.
Plus, he's a hooper, man. He don't know.
Oh, yeah. He's a baller. He's a baller. Well,
Kyle, all I know about is the AC. I don't like the outdoor sports.
Oh, when the HC's really blowing and my hands get numb, boy, and I go out and swing the golf club, I feel that vibration off the shaft of my rifle shaft. Boy, it really hurts. Kyle, what do you think? Transfer portal. Do you have a take on what the Gators should do in the transfer portal? What they should do? I mean, I think we've all been discussing that. Lauren's having a party apparently behind his shower curtain. I think we're going to see more than somebody come in and interact.
Can you hear that?
Oh yeah, we hear all that.
Hold on.
Yeah, would you regulate, dude? Come on.
Yeah, let me get on that.
Come on, dude. I thought you had a heavy hand, man. Come on. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. Florida's obviously done a great job with Florida Victorious and stuff like that, putting themselves in a good position. But, I agree. I think it's going to be a wild, wild west. But at the same time, I think, Florida's in a good spot to capitalize. And what I think is the most intriguing, because this is the first or second, full kind of year that people have their gatherings together. Different foundations are starting to be put together in order to raise money for NIL. I think that, especially you were able to tell last year, right after the season's over, that's kind of when you start seeing what transfers you're going to have, and you start getting a better feel of what your roster is going to look like, in the fall. So it's going to be quick to be able to tell, how Billy Napier's plan is to, rebuild and, reload, different aspects of the team. Last year he went after a lot of linebackers, front 7 defensive linemen. This year it could be different interior linemen, stuff like that. But kind of bouncing off what you guys were saying earlier about Graham Mertz transferring in and whether or not he's going to stay next year, stuff like that. What you're saying about what ifs and all that stuff, if Max Brown goes out there and beats Florida State and then we get in a bowl game and he plays good, that might and Graham Mertz decides to play, that might just be building up his transfer portal status. So, you never really know with any of these things. But I do think, versus 5-10 years ago when, you got to wait for the recruiting class to come in, you got to wait a few years for those guys under you to develop. You're going to have more of a immediate impact and be able to tell right away. I'm getting a caliber kind of guy like Graham Mertz, for example, that's going to be able to, step in and be that starter day one. So, I think it's going to be fun to track, especially for us. We're going to be super busy. I think that, last year the offseason was as busy as ever with transfer portals and stuff like that.
It's going to be times 100 now.
Yeah, it'll be, and then throw NIL into the situation adds. You got a 3-headed dragon that's blowing fire and ice at you. So it'll be interesting.
It was interesting to hear Urban Meyer talk last Friday about this, and I think he was talking to Elko, I believe, but they were talking about, remember, Coach, when it was, you want to come back and coach again, and you got to go to dinner and text these guys and go to their house and the parents and all that stuff. And they said, not anymore. You just ask how much. And that's what he said, because we just find out how much it costs. He's like, that's all you do anymore. He's like, we don't do any of that because I love the NIL. It's great. Far less time spent on it because it's all about money, and that is probably the future of what we're going to see. I joked around with Kyle tonight. I said, we're going to get some franchise tags now. Yeah. We're going to start, we're going to have a combine, like, some Wonderlick tests are going to go sliding out there now. Like,
if they unionize, which a lot of them are talking about doing,
that's what I'm saying. Man,
it's amazing what could happen.
There's a crazy, I don't even want to think about it. There's a ton of possibilities just from they opened up a whole new portal.
Yeah. Wow. It is going to be the Wild Wild West because, David, do you believe that there is enough in place by the NCAA to handle this it's going to be, no holds barred. I feel like it's going to be like a cage match almost.
Yeah. When any question begins, is there enough by the NCAA to ... The answer is no.
Negative Ghost Rider. Negative Ghost Rider. That pattern is full.
Yeah. Yeah. But what I found interesting is that, with high school recruiting, who's out there, who's available. Everybody knows. And coaches talk to you about it, and they're ranked and all that. The portal, it's pretty much a mystery because, there's a lot of talk going on underground here, but you don't know this guy is on the market. You can assume that everybody to some extent is on the market, but it's not like that you look down a roster and say, all right, he's available, he's available, he's available, he's available. You don't know till really, you can conjecturize. It's like you hear a lot of, Trevor Etienne, he seems like a prime target. And sure he is. Who wouldn't want Trevor Etienne? But, he's never, as far as said word one about it, that he's looking to get out. You can build the case that maybe he does because he's not the featured guy. He's splitting time with Montrell Johnson and maybe he wants more touches, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe, he could be totally happy, but it's not like he's coming out of high school and he's going to go somewhere. You really have no idea whether he is. Him and the other, however many D1 players are out there. Heck, it's more than D1 now, and so you don't know who to look at, and that means you can worry about everybody or not worry about anybody. Like last year, I don't think anybody thought that two of Florida's starting linemen would sign with USC, but they did. A lot of good it did USC. So
they're great.
That's another thing about it is that
Feinbraun called him a fraud.
Got to such a hot start. People sort of got this thing. Well, we can just clean the decks every year and bring in 30 guys, or in that case 60 guys, and get it going. I think that has shown that there is something to be said for continuity. And you can't just build from scratch, especially on the, when you're talking about the line and particularly offensive linemen, because that is really a unit that works together. And it's hard, you put in one new guy that works, or one or two, but when you have 5 new guys starting and learning, even if they're great, but you're not going to get 5 great guys together, if you need them. And so, and Billy talked about it yesterday, how. And ideally, your base comes through high school, and you use free agency to patch up things. And if a guy's out there, you go get him. But you don't. I don't know what the real proper mix is, and I probably is different with every program. What is the proper mix? Certainly Clemson didn't. Dabo aired the wrong way. Bringing in nobody for 2 years, nice. And then other teams have gone too. Deion had to do it more out of necessity than anything. But I don't think that's an ideal thing where you bring in 60 new faces every year.
Well, speaking of Deion, you see his tweet or whatever he was his press conference today where he was just talking. Kind of sounded old school. You're going to come here and get a good education and da 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 da. No, you're not. It's Boulder, dude.
He thought Mount Rushmore was in California.
Yeah, exactly. Number one party school in the country. CU Boulder. Great.
What I really wanted is back in the days of 1860s and when it was the Wild West, after shootout, did they sit around and say, "Man, this is just like the NIL"?
That's what they did say. They did say that. It's like, man, this is like the NIL. Yeah. All right. So we've sort of, I guess, set the table. I'm kind of cautiously excited. Look, anytime there's more stories, it's good for business, right? So speaking of business, check all these guys out, except for that guy, David Whitley. He's with the Gainesville Sun. These other 2 characters, you can catch them on GatorBaitMedia.com all the time. Check it out. Good stuff. Okay, so I want to get some of this sticky, touchy subjects. I've got a lot of messages, people talking today. Everyone's got an opinion. I don't mean to reverse into Missouri, but I think it does serve the conversation about Max Brown. I think it's interesting to see what we saw from him and the read option. Coach, I think I'd like to hear what your take is not so much what we're going to see at FSU. We'll sort of maybe transition to that, but there's a lot of, I guess, controversy about the last series there. How how it was coached per se. Do you give ETN that's what stretch 34 play towards the sideline there? Why not just run it back up the middle? Why not see that read option one time to maybe advance the ball to maybe almost score a touchdown? Was it right to play small ball there? Do you agree with some of that play calling when you had a Max Brown that seemingly was moving the football? My opinion, we talked about it on Sunday. Has your opinion changed? And if so, what is it? And I'll kind of go around the horn. You guys give me your take there.
I would have played it the exact same way minus the stretch. I said I was standing there with Jacob Rudner and Zach Goodall, and we were standing there, and I said, the next play needs to be a run up the middle. You get the ball in the middle of the field, keep it in bounds, and there you go.
At least. Yeah.
I was shocked that they ran the stretch. And, that just, like I said, is one of those head scratchers again. But other than that, I would have played it the exact same way. A lot of people thought we should have maybe taken a poke. They should have taken a poke into the end zone. But at that time, with the way things were going, if he stays in bounds, could be a different result. Who knows with Florida's defense, because you really don't know. But I would have played it the exact same way. I really have no problem with that last drive whatsoever. And then as far as Max Brown's play, I thought he played extremely well. When Mertz got hurt, I turned to another colleague in the press box and I said, "You're running." I said, "That's what you do. You're running. You're running and you run him and you run him," because, like I said the other day, it puts the defense in conflict when you have that true threat of the quarterback run game. And it's almost like putting the defensive lineman in a pick and roll. And I thought he would do well with some of that. Now, obviously, there'll be some game planning for that in the future. But as far as the last drive on offense, other than the stretch play, I thought it was played out perfectly. I mean, you talk about, if he stays in bounds, they burn the last time out, right? And then they don't have that timeout or whatever. But
but don't you agree? Even in the fact that it wasn't drilled into his head. Whatever you do, two things: don't drop the ball and don't run out of bounds.
Well, here's my question: is how long? I mean, some of these guys have been playing football since they were like what, first or second grade, right?
Yeah.
And played in some pretty big football games. Trevor Etienne should know better. He should.
No question.
Whether Billy told him or not, he should know better. And looking at the situation, all 11 guys should have said, A, don't move this ball out the middle of the field, and B, don't go out of bounds.
Listen,
offensive lineman, quarterback, everybody should have said, we want the ball right in between the hashes on whatever yard line we get. And the minute, on the stretch play, you're looking at the end man on line of scrimmage. The minute I saw the end man line of scrimmage was holding firm, I'd have went down right then. But,
well, listen, clearly you don't have children, because I tell my daughter to not do things and she should know better all the time. Right, and she does it anyway and says, I forgot.
All 11 guys should have been.
Well,
it shouldn't have just been Billy and Trevor. It should have been Michael Mazuka, Jake Slaughter. Everybody should have been like,
dude, stay in bounds, stay in bounds, stay in bounds, stay in bounds, stay in bounds. Yeah. Okay. I agree. Okay. That's legit. Kyle, I'll ask you the same question. How do you feel about the last series?
Yeah.
Please be honest. You're on a lie detector test.
No. I think that I agree with everything. Everything was going good. Max Brown was playing good. You could tell he was getting fired up. I think, the play that put them into field goal range was, read option. He got 17, 20 yards, got up, fired up. The only thing that I would have at least liked, I'm fine with running Trevor Etienne 3 times on that final third down there, or the final 3 plays. But, at least I think he was under center every time. I would have liked to at least maybe act like you're doing the read option and put the defense in a position to where you at least have to respect. He just ran for 30 yards on one drive. I mean, not saying that Graham Mertz isn't capable of, running, but not at the ability of Max Brown. So at least making him an option and having to respect that, I would have liked that more. And then on the third down stretch, I think you go to especially in that situation where it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, you're probably not going to throw it, settling for the field goal. You go up and ask Trey Smack what side of the ball or what hash mark do you like it on. You know exactly. You should already basically know. And most right kickers like it on that left hash mark, which is why I was even more kind of thrown off guard by the stretch to the right hash. And then you're telling them to stay in bounds because there's 1:30 left. So outside of making Max Brown an option and planning for the 4th down field goal that luckily he ended up making, but I don't know. I think that it could have been handled a little bit better, but it's one of those plays that you can add that to the questionable folder of play calls this year.
Now, David, wait a minute. When in the Arkansas game, wasn't he on the left hash? Left hash? I thought he was on the left.
Yeah, I don't know
he missed. I think he was on. I think he was closer to the left hash. I think maybe he.
No, he was on the right hash.
Was he on the right hash? I'm trying to remember.
It went that
right hash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He sliced it.
I could be mistaken. I'm pretty sure that kickers like it on the left hash. If you're
I like it. Hey, I like it on the left hash too. All right. It's called me Southpaw. Okay.
I was a holder. You're right.
You're right. I was a holder once too, but that's another story. David, what do you think, buddy? What do you think? Do you think you like that last series, or the play calling? You think it was perfect? Do you think you'd have done the same thing? David Whitley, head coach of the Florida Gators. What do you do?
All I would have done would be put a note on, pin it to Trevor Etienne's jersey saying,
he's
"Stay
a parent.
in bounds." And I'm sure he was told, and they practiced and all, but they weren't going. Billy wasn't going to throw him under the bus after the game, but it was obvious that it's like, well, we should have stayed in bounds. Like you said, that's football 101. But it just, he just didn't do it, and that hurt. Although it would have required them to burn a timeout or cost them 30 seconds. I don't know what
would have burned the last time out. I mean,
then they had 0 timeouts. But still they would have gotten with about a minute to go, and with Florida's defense, man, that's a minute too much. And when they got it to 4th, although even at 4th and 17, I'm thinking, well, it's just
50-50. ESPN said 99.9. I did not believe it.
No, I did. I thought it was over.
Yeah.
So what did you do? What do you do there? Do you go? Are you ballsy? Do you try to get it in the end zone there? Not 3rd down, but in that series, you at least first down. Maybe
I wouldn't have thrown it. No, I mean,
but you weren't moving the ball by throwing it. He was just ripped off 27 yards on the read option. They looked tired and beat, and all of a sudden we went, ETN left, right. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. What do you call on that last series?
More aggressive, but either way, I think that they were going to end up trying to get in the field unless they. I don't know if Missouri was going to was gassed or not, but I was just assuming at that point that conventional wisdom is you keep running your stuff that they were running, and if it doesn't work, then you settle for the field goal, and I think that they were happy with that because who wouldn't be happy? You just took the lead with 1 minute to go. You just need one stop. Come on, one stop on the right, and you ought to be able to get that. But again,
shoulda, coulda, woulda, right?
Not with this defense, which and as bad as the 4th and 17 was, they were Missouri still wasn't in field goal position, but then it was just bam, bam, bam. Suddenly, two passes later, the best kicker in America is had like a 25-yarder, and there was no drama in that.
SEC record holder for 61 yards. I mean, that guy. I mean, he's like we should call him pork chop. He could play quarterback. He's so big.
Yeah, but I don't think at this point anybody was. There was certainly a lot of disappointment in that 4th and 17, but I don't think anybody was totally surprised that it happened.
Well, I don't know. Look, for me, I guess I'm just more of a go for it guy. I weigh the whole thing out. Look, you're not playing for anything, right? You're playing to be the spoil. You're on the road. Your defense is warm butter on a good day. You just let them run all over you for 77 yards on a little flatten out play. Prior to that, the couple series before or earlier in the fourth, I just felt like, man, you got to coach to what you think you got on the field. I think, as soon as he picks up, those 27 yards that get, close, I think you line up quick, at least start, try to catch him off guard or whatever it may be, because they didn't call a timeout. I don't think right away. They waited to the second play to start burning timeouts. I just felt like you had him on the heels, momentum. And what do you got to lose, man? You got nothing to lose. Like, you need like a great win. You got to become bowl eligible. I just don't see the rationale as to thinking as soon as they kicked the field goal, I was like, one timeout, minute and some left, it's over. Gators aren't going to win. You just knew. I think everyone was like, God, our defense sucks. And they're exhausted. They've been getting beat up all day long by their offense, and they got an experienced quarterback back there. Plus, again, home field. I just felt like at least, not make it so obvious. They lined up first play. Everyone's like, what? Everyone in the stadium knew they were going to run it. So, and it was going to just be something safe. That's my take. I don't want to beat a dead horse about it. I know everybody wants to talk 4th and 17. I don't think that's much of the conversation, in my opinion. And I'm Buddy Martin tonight, so I don't want to talk about it. All right, so we're going to get like some final thoughts here because we're getting up against our time. Sorry, it was late tonight, by the way. Let's look ahead to Florida State. I'm not a score predictions person, but I would like if you guys would give me, what do you think Florida's coach? What do you think Florida's going to do with Max Brown? Obviously, the read options an obvious choice, but I think we got to, going to have to throw a little wrinkle because they've been watching nothing but that as far as the Seminoles for the last, for the next week. So what do you think is going to happen? If you could, be some sort of a prognosticator here, and do you think the Gators will actually win with Max Brown as QB1?
I think that they'll, obviously the read option will definitely be in play. I think they'll work to get him out in space. Hopefully they can run the football a little bit so they can run some of that boot and waggle. That's really good stuff when it's drawn up right and executed. I think that'll help. I think they will try to, do a little bit of keep away, like I said, focus on the run game, probably have him throw, probably no more than 20 passes at most, I would say, and really hope he can kind of almost do the reverse Jordan Travis, beat Jordan Travis and kind of Houdini him a little bit because, that Florida State defense is still pretty good. This will probably be the best D lineman in Jared Verse that the Gators have played all year, and I don't think they win the football game. I think it's close, but I think Florida State probably wins by 2 touchdowns.
Real quickly, Graham Mertz, does he come back next year or not?
I think he comes back. I think there's a lot of variables in play, particularly with the draft and things like that, and I don't think he'll be able to throw for the scouts and that kind of thing. And right now, I think as a scout, you may see this season as a one-off, and you want to see more. And I think a solid year next year where I could see him even getting some Heisman odds with what they have back on offense, I think he comes back.
Okay, so even if Max Brown goes and pulls an upset, plays out of his mind, you still think he comes back, or you think maybe he comes back, starts DJ Lagway's like third string, kind of watching and learning, and you bring in a Max Brown package on third down?
I don't, like I told you, I don't think that's Billy's thing. I think if Mertz is healthy,
That is dumb.
I think Mertz plays 99.9% of the series next year. I do. He's going to be
so dumb.
He's going to be. He has the opportunity to be a first round draft pick. I think. The guy can play, man. He's a dude, and I wouldn't take him off the field. He's done nothing. He deserves to play as many snaps as he wants to, from what I've seen.
Deserve to play? We're talking about transfer portal. It's all about being money.
He's earned, through his play, he has earned the right to lead this football team next year. No doubt about it.
Well, we'll see about that. I disagree with you, but that's okay. He's Lauren Meadows. I'm going to say goodnight to him because we're gonna click everybody as they go. Lauren Meadows, go back to your party. All right. Say hi to Marsha. Lauren Meadows,
All
check him out on GatorBaitMedia.com. Goodbye. Kyle Curtis, same question to you.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, no Jordan Travis hurts Florida State a lot. You know, I agree. I think, you know, Max Brown's probably going to only get about 20, maybe 25 passes. And if Florida really wants a chance, they're going to have to keep it close early and, you know, not put the obvious passing situation into Max Brown's hands. I don't know, man. It's hard. I really want Florida to pull it off. But this defense, it's just hard to trust right now. I'm going to go 34-27. Florida State. And to follow up, I do think Graham Mertz comes back next year.
All right. He's Kyle Curtis. Oh, Kyle, preview your article that we're going to post later tonight. Tell us what that's about.
Yeah. So basically just talked about how, you know, the takeaways of Graham Mertz's injury, what the game's going to be like with Tate Rodemaker and Max Brown as the quarterback, and, you know, the culture of all the players in that locker room, and you know how they got behind Graham Mertz for his injury and how they're getting behind Max Brown as their starting quarterback for the Florida State game.
Yeah, and they're doing that by posting on social media. We got a couple of those things that we're going to go in there, which is good stuff. All right, Kyle Curtis, good job. Thank you very much. Go back. Oh, you're not at the beach.
Yes, sir. Good night, guys.
All right, we'll talk to you
soon. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, happy Thanksgiving, Kyle Curtis. Mr. Whitley, what do you think?
Alone
I know
again.
what you think. I know. Here we are alone again. What do you think? I know you would, you know, I know what you think about Graham Mertz, and we sort of discussed it. Like good radio is that, you rehash every 7-8 minutes. So
yeah, we were.
What do you think?
Changed my mind in the last 40 minutes.
You know what? And you have the right to, sir.
Yes.
So what do you think? You think win loss?
I think respectable loss. I think the game would have been in the 30s. Now it's going to be in the 20s. I think both are going to play it more conservatively because you're putting in your backup QBs. Neither one is as good as the first string guys, or they would have been the first string guys. Right. Were Jordan Travis playing, I think FSU probably would have won by a couple of touchdowns. Now I don't know. Rodemaker, it's a mystery. And I think that, the swamp is going to be worth, 10 points. But I just think that just sheer talent wise, that FSU just has, they still have a lot of things around Rodemaker, a lot, the skill position. And given how Florida hasn't come close to covering receivers this year, especially good receivers, FSU, they've got two really good ones and a really good tight end. So it's hard to see that they can contain them enough and that the offense can keep up. So I think it'll probably be maybe, FSU by a touchdown.
FSU by a touchdown. All right. And how you think Max Brown plays well? Think they're going to shut him down maybe?
Yeah, I think he'll do pretty well on that. But,
Bad defense.
Yeah, but the defense, I just, it
sucks.
At this point, it's hard. If anybody said nobody could have confidence that I don't care, if Travis Henry and I don't care if Travis Tritt was playing QB, against the Gators. It's it's just hard to fathom that suddenly they're going to become. I'm not talking about becoming good. I'm just become mediocre in the span of 7 days.
Well, in interest of not talking to myself, you're going to have to hang out for my prediction before.
What do you think? What do you think, Ruben?
Oh, that's a good question. Thank you very much, Mr. Whitley. I think the Gators are going to win. I think Max Brown's going to play a lot better than people think that he's going to play. I think it's going to change the dynamic of the offense. I think he makes quicker decisions. I think if you've got a knock on Graham Mertz as he holds on to the ball a little bit too long, I think obviously he doesn't escape the pocket. He's a pocket passer. I think this style of quarterback for Max, a la Max Brown, it kind of sets up a little bit better. You have a banged up offensive line, quick movements, getting quick decisions. I think will serve well for the offense. I think they're going to go up early. I think you got to give 10, 14 points to the Swamp. My God, we've seen that this year already once against Tennessee. And I think if they can have time of possession a little bit more, I think that bodes well for the defense. That young defense doesn't have to play as much. I think that having that's why the quarterback position is such a big deal, right? It can change the complexity of a team. We're going to see a little bit more of a wide open offense because you have more options now. You spread out the offense a little bit more, and it will come down to, I think everyone's expecting him to run. I don't think he's going to run because I do think he can throw. I've seen him throw. We've seen him throw. So I think we'll probably see somewhere in the middle, try to catch him off guard. No question the FSU defense is good, but if you get that guy out in space, you roll Max Brown out with, and I think he is a smart quarterback. He's got a good football IQ. I see Florida winning that game. I especially with FSU's current status. I think they're just. It's really hard to run the table in college football. I think this is probably your worst nightmare right now, coming against a team that's hungry, that's really needs to play in some kind of bowl game to get those 15 extra practices. I think that, this is sort of what you don't want if you're Florida State. And the Swamp does not disappoint, especially when you get those cool LED lights. You won't back down, man. It's like, all right. I feel like that was you, by the way. I feel like you were Matthew McConaughey style in high school. Like you pulled up.
McConaughey. I can see that. I can see it there.
I can see that you're like McConaughey. You pull up and it's like, oh, it's Whitley. And you're like, all right. No, that's what I feel about you. Listen, what do you got writing about this week, Mr. Whitley, in the Gainesville Sun?
Just about some game coming up, stuff like that. And,
what, volleyball?
Yeah. Actually, I can't let this hour and 39 minutes pass without at least mentioning the big week for the hoops team too.
Oh, huge.
And, for early season, they a couple of games in New York against some good quality competition that they can find out just really, early of what they got. But, tell you what, if the football team does half as well as the hoops team did against FSU, you're going to look like Kreskin next week. With all this, with all the sunshine you're pumping tonight.
Kreskin, was that what was the Johnny Carson when he did the
Karnak? Yeah, Karnak. Karnak the Magnificent.
Yes, Karnak the Magnificent. Yes. Hey, it's always a pleasure to have you on, Mr. Whitley. Thank you for staying extra. I will send some Mrs. Smith's cookies and milk extra. We'll have them dropped off.
Karnak would say, make them, sealed in a mayonnaise jar on Funk and Wagnall's back porch.
Bam! I love it. Yes, it's great. I do enjoy reading your stuff. You are one of my favorite people to read, and I appreciate your patience tonight while I pirated internet from the neighbors. He's David Whitley. Oh, wait, bring it back. I didn't mean to be so rude. Sorry, didn't mean to be so rude. He's David Whitley. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. Check him out on at the Gainesville Sun, and you'll be at the game on Saturday. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Maybe we'll sit down and have a little press meal together. It might be Sonny's barbecue.
I hope so.
Thank you, Mr. Whitley. See you. Says good night to Mr. David Whitley. Thanks for everybody who's coming on to the show tonight. Appreciate you staying a little bit later with me. I just wanted to tell everybody really quickly about Titan MRI. Titan MRI is Gainesville's newest independent MRI facility. North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. Titan MRI is now open and serving the greater Gainesville and North Central Florida area. They're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. We know most people live a busy life. They know, not we know. And although we all have irregular business hours, but we're available only by appointment. Well, Titan MRI has got you covered. They're open on evenings and weekends in order to meet all of our schedule. Their MRI equipment is modern. The MRI MRI units have one of the largest bores or opening of any of the newer strength MRI units at 71 centimeters. It allows for comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic, me, and larger patients, me, I'm 6'4", by the way, who generally cannot tolerate smaller closed units. Its noise level is at 75% quieter than any other units in its class. Hey, you want to know more about them? Check out TitanMRI.com, and they are a sponsor of the show, so tell them Brendan sent you. Also, really quickly, we didn't get a chance to tell you about Renstar Medical Research here in Ocala. They do all sorts of sorry, it's been a tough night as I was pirating internet. Let me pull up the proper thing and just quit pretending. They've been sponsoring the Buddy Martin Show for quite a long time. Good friends of our Renstar Medical Research, a research site located in the beautiful North Central Florida area, one of the fastest growing retirement areas in the country. Renstar research staff with local physicians in private practice and community hospital settings to provide a multidisciplinary team focused on meeting enrollment goals. They are doing all sorts of stuff on clinical research trials for Alzheimer's disease, Alzheimer's prevention, chronic obstruction, pulmonary disease, COPD, diabetes type 2, fibromyalgia, all sorts of stuff. You can be a part of the study and check them out at Renstar.net. And again, tell them Brendan sent you. Isn't that fun to say? Other than that, Buddy was on assignment tonight. Thanks for sticking with me. We had a good time tonight. I thank my guests, David Whitley, Lauren Meadows, Kyle Curtis. Again, if you want to read those guys, well, guess what? You can go do that. Click on this QR code right now and subscribe to GatorBaitMedia.com. We've got that story coming out by Kyle. Done a great job with. Buddy Martin writes there. Franz Beard, regular senior columnist there, writes almost every day. Lauren as well writes a pregame and postgame postgame articles, analyze what needs to happen and what did happen. It's great stuff. Check it out over there. Go to GatorBaitMedia.com right now, and I believe you put in code WINNING in your checkout, and you're going to get about 20% discount. We're going to call it a Black Friday special, but go ahead and check it out. Click on that QR code, go over to subscribe and check out GatorBaitMedia.com. And of course, subscribe to this show. My gosh, you guys are doing better. More subscribers means more money for us. We keep bringing this stuff for free. That's right. For free. Click on our stuff. Tell your friends and neighbors that it is the #1 show with all the great stuff here on YouTube. That's right. YouTube. Anyway, that's all for me. I am going to go take care of my very special daughter. Always she's around. Special daughter. Last time she came out with makeup on, it was great. There she is. God, hurry. And as always, you say thanks to my special daughter, Stella. Only daughter, special daughter, because she puts up with me, even though I should probably be hanging out with her. But, you know, I love you guys too much. That's it for me. I'm Brendan Martin. Who are you? Stella Martin. Can you say it a little? I'm Stella Martin.
Oh, I'm Stella Martin.
That's great. You got a very bright future, kid. As always, and forever, no matter what's said and what's done on this program, we do always say, go Gators. And we'll talk to you tomorrow, which got Allie Peak Wilbur and David Moulton and Buddy Martin are going to come and do a great show for you. I think look for a little extra earlier showtime. But if you subscribe to this channel, you're going to get all that information because we try to schedule the show soon. She's got a nice dance going on. Hey, love you guys. Go Gators.